I'm Mike Jimenez, and this is The Acquired Taste. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Hope everyone's having a fantastic Monday. Joe Garcia producing today's show. Again, we're live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. But if you're on YouTube, you can leave comments for us, and I can read them out in real time so you can be part of the show. It's going to be a great, great show because we have a lot to get into. I mean, first of all, we have to talk about Wemby not going to be playing for France this summer. What about that controversy that I kind of ignited on Twitter over the weekend
with the taco?
About the tacos that he got from Univision? For shame, Univision. Maybe we'll get into the Cowboys. We'll talk a little bit about San Antonio FC, the San Antonio Missions, and it's Movie Review Monday. Normally, I do nostalgic movie reviews. That's kind of what I'm known for. But today, we're going to do a recent one. I saw the new Transformers movie. And I know a lot of the nerds out there who are also sports fans get pissed off because they're like, dude, you shouldn't be watching Transformers. You shouldn't be reviewing Transformer movies if you didn't play with the toys growing up, if you didn't watch the cartoons growing up. But guess what? I'm going to review it anyway. We're doing sports. We're doing pop culture, nostalgic crap, all of that. Again, follow us live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Joe Garcia producing today's show. What's going on, my man? How have you been?
I've been good, man. I thought you were going to go ahead and review the iconic classic Transformers, the movie. But you're saying, hey, I didn't watch the cartoons or I didn't have the toys. You kind of remind me more of a GoBots kind of guy.
Dude, everyone keeps saying that, and apparently it's an insult, but I have no idea what the hell anyone's talking about. Because, is that an insult or not? Is it really an insult if you don't know what the reference? It's just... I mean, is that a bad thing? What are GoBots?
GoBots are like a knockoff of the Transformers.
Okay.
But here's the thing, though.
Wow.
Really, when you think about it, the GoBots actually came out before the Transformers as far as the cartoon goes.
Okay.
And then the Transformers cartoon came out after the GoBots. So the GoBots were first as far as the animated series goes. But as far as the toys go, Transformers are the brand that you had to be seen in,
It's all nerdy stuff anyway, man. It's all just nerdy stuff. But I did watch the movie over the weekend, so we need to get into that as well. Don't forget to subscribe to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia. Again, daily content involving the San Antonio Spurs. Lots to get into about the Spurs, by the way. I follow Jeff Garcia on Spotify. Again, that's Jeff G Spurs Zone on Twitter. Again, Locked On Spurs is a big friend of The Acquired Taste. Now, one thing that we did over the weekend was we looked at the statistics of The Acquired Taste. So again, thank you so much for those of you who follow this on a daily basis. What we're seeing is that according to YouTube stats, and the reason why we want you to like and subscribe on YouTube is because we can follow the statistics, and it's easier for us to sell this show to companies for sponsorships and things like that. What I find funny about the statistics is that the vast majority of those who listen to the show are between the ages of 25 and 54, more than likely men, about 80% coming from San Antonio. There's a lot in Austin and RGV who also listen to this show. But the thing about it is this show is evergreen. And what I mean by that is that it doesn't matter if you watch it at 12 o'clock or 6 p.m. or 9 p.m., you're going to be able to enjoy it. I'm not going to date these shows so that you have to watch it at noon or you don't get it at all. You don't get any of the references or it becomes dated at that point, it becomes stale. No, we're going to make these shows so that if you watch at 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 p.m., that it's fresh to you as well, okay? And that's the thing is because the YouTube statistics show that only half the people who are watching right now or watch this show watch it at noon live. About 25% get on after work at 6 o'clock, and then another 25% at 9 or 10 o'clock. And for those of you who are listening in the future at 6 p.m. or at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m., this is going to be a fresh show for you because we're not going to make this so dated that you're going to be like, well, I missed the reference, right? There's no fear of missing out when it comes to doing this. But this is so much fun. We're filling the gaps again. That is the mission statement here at The Acquired Taste because local sports talk radio goes national from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., we want you to have a place to turn to for daily content when it comes to local sports talk. And we do more than sports talk. We do pop culture. We do nostalgic things and a lot of other things that we're starting to integrate into this. Right now, it's a 1 hour show, but then it's going to expand hopefully to 1.5, 2 hours, and then maybe get 4 hours of content involving multiple hosts. But again, we need you to like and subscribe on YouTube, okay? Because that helps with our numbers. It helps publicize this, and it gets us out in front so that when people log on to YouTube, they see it. Weird thing is, there are people who watch us on YouTube daily who are not subscribed.
Come on, hit the subscribe
Dude,
button.
that's what the stats say. Hit the subscribe button. Do us a favor. We're knocking on the door of 400 now, which is amazing because we had 274 week 1, 101 week 2. We're already at like 7 or 8 for today for the start of week 3.
Yeah.
This is fun.
And it was 357 when I checked. I think it was Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, we're at 380 something right now.
Yeah, I was like, that's pretty good.
We'll hit 400 by tomorrow. We'll hit 400 by tomorrow. But again, thank you so much for taking part. Lots of comments coming in. Matt Lerma says, let's like the stream. Help Mike J grow. Balkan 2, what will it take to get you on for another hour? Sponsors.
Yeah, and you all got to hit that like button. Hit the like button, please, because it helps us get more views in that algorithm. It helps us get more viewership across social media.
Yeah.
And in turn, that helps Mike get more sponsors.
Jacob says, I'm in the house, baby. Welcome to the house. We love to have you here. People saying howdy. Memo Rodriguez saying hit that sub. That's right. Subscribe to the Acquired Taste. And beyond that, if you're watching this right now, listening to this right now, share it on your social media. Tell a friend about it. This past weekend, I was over at Pinstack, which is kind of like a bowling alley arcade over by they call it Park North, what used to be Central Park Mall back in the day. And had a guy who just approached me and he was like, dude, I dig the podcast.
Nice.
He just stopped me. He asked for a selfie. It was great. He goes, I dig the podcast. The thing is that my daughter was embarrassed by it all. She's like, who the hell would want to take a photo with you? And then I met some people over at a bar who was like, dude, I'm subscribing to you. I like it. So again, we're at 400. We have about 1,000 people who are watching now on a daily basis on all the platforms. But YouTube is the one that don't get me wrong, we'll always do Twitter. We'll always do Facebook. But YouTube and TikTok is kind of where we need to go. Follow me on TikTok as well. Mike Acquired Taste. That's my TikTok handle there. And again, thank you for being part of the ground floor, if you will, the original OGs when it comes to being fans of this particular show. Lots to get into. Again, Victor Wembanyama is here in San Antonio. I went out to the airport to go greet the man.
And you didn't bring him a taco.
Well, no, here's the thing. My wife had to leave at the airport because she had a girls' trip. And I'm dropping her off at the airport because I rented her a car from there, right? And I'm looking at my watch and I'm like, dude, Wemby's going to land at like 45 minutes. So I make my way over and I pull off to the side and you see all these people there. And I like to say that 90% of those were Mexicanos there that were cheering on Victor Wembanyama. And then I get there and then the announcement's made that he's going to be 2 hours late.
Wow.
And I was like, no, it's 105 degrees. My ass is going to get out of there. So I got in my truck and I just went back home. But had he landed on time, I would have been there. But we're going to get into the controversy involving Wemby's first few minutes here in San Antonio because the Univision reporter pissed me off. The controversy involving the tacos that were given to Victor Wembanyama. Now, here's the thing. We do have some news involving Victor Wembanyama that was announced this morning. He will not play for France in the FIBA World Cup this summer, which was set to begin in September. Again, he just came off his league finals, which they lost, and the summer league is coming up in July, and the belief was that the Spurs were going to let him do what he does, right? Do what you do. You do you. And you do you is go play for France if that's what you want to do. Well, Wemby was speaking to reporters from France, and he told the reporters in French, quote, "It would not be realistic in terms of development and not prudent in terms of health. I hope people understand it's frustrating for me too. The France team is central for me. I want to win as many titles as possible with that team, but I think it's a necessary sacrifice," end quote. That basically means that Wemby is not playing for France. He is now focused on being a San Antonio Spur. Now, I was okay with Wemby playing for France, right? Because, Keldon Johnson played for Team USA, for crying out loud. He won a gold medal. So it's not unheard of. I mean, David Robinson played with the Dream Team. But I wanted Wemby to sit that out. I wanted him to sit it out, but I would have been okay if he did play for France. But the fact that he has decided to forego that, even though it's painful for him, and he's articulating that, and he says it's a necessary sacrifice, makes me happy as a Spurs fan.
Yeah.
Because I don't want him to put so many miles on the odometer when it comes to his feet. And we see all those things that he's doing as far as those stretches and those exercises that he's doing, how different it is because he wants to take care of his feet. And so many people who are 7'2", 7'3", 7'4", 7'5" in the NBA typically have foot issues. Chet Holmgren hurt his foot and missed the entire season. He got injured
in
the summer.
Yeah.
In the summer, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a practice. It was like a charity event.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing about it is this, is that I don't want anything, a freak injury to happen. And I want Wemby to be available at all times. He's going to play in the Summer League, which is going to start in the first week of July. Don't know how many games he's going to play, but that was announced today that the 4 games that are going to be played out there. First week of July, whether he plays 1, 2, 3, or 4 games, we do know he's going to play at least one. Why? Because Wemby says he's going to play. But I'm so happy as a Spurs fan that he is dedicated to this team and realizes that there are priorities. And the priority is doing your job. And your job is a basketball player for the San Antonio Spurs, the silver and black. And as much as it pains him to not play with the French team in the FIBA World Cups, it's the right thing to do. Sitting out is the right thing to do. And, you know, I understand that it's painful. We do have a comment from Locked On Spurs, Jeff Garcia, that came in just about a minute ago. And it says, here's the Spurs home preseason games. October 13 versus Miami at 7 p.m. October 16 versus Houston at 7 p.m. and October 18 against Houston at 7 p.m. Again, that is October 13th, 16th, and 18th. Those are the home preseason games for the San Antonio Spurs. That's brought to us by Locked On Spurs. Jeff Garcia, again, follow him on Twitter. Follow him on Spotify. Daily content of your San Antonio Spurs. Glad that we have that information. We're getting this up and running. Again, subscribe to Locked On Spurs. Wemby is the generational talent that we've been praying for and that we got, and we saw him over the weekend have a media availability over at the AT&T Center, and so much media attended, and a lot of crap was given by the fact that he couldn't make a jumper while there. I'm not going to think too much into it, but they gave him a basketball to kind of, parade him around. I'm like, why did they do that?
They just want him to wear the jersey.
So that he can wear the jersey,
Yeah.
and that the TV stations can get a little bit of B-roll, right? So he's going over there at 7'3", 7'5" with shoes, finger rolling the ball, doing a little baby hook, and then all of a sudden he's shooting 15-foot jumpers and was clanking every single one of them. And every single hater out there was all over Twitter going, dude couldn't even make a jumper in front of the media with nobody guarding him. And I'm like, dude,
that's probably Rockets fans. They were Rocket fans.
Rocket fans and Laker fans. They're the most salty right now. Rocket fans because, had the Rockets lost that coin flip, would have had Wemby, right? They literally lost Wemby by a coin flip when it was all said and done. But, dude, he'll be perfectly fine. And he's a great talent. His shooting needs to improve.
Yeah.
Anything outside of 15 feet needs to improve. But the guy has handles. The guy can rebound. The guy can defend. He can block shots. And I think the belief, though, that a lot of Spurs fans have is that, well, he's Kevin Durant. He has that accuracy from three-point land, and he doesn't. I mean, he was a 28% shooter from three, right? I criticized Jeremy Sohan all last season.
Yeah, you
and
did.
Sohan was like 25%. So Wemby was 3% better. But the ball's different. The court is a little bit different. The spacing's different. I think 28% in France is probably closer to 31, 32% in the NBA. Still not good, but he has the form. That's the thing. Yeah. He has the form.
Well, honestly, Mike, the Spurs as a whole, when they were shooting from beyond the arc, they were in the 30s somewhere.
Well, I mean, there's a big difference between 31% and 39%.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were north of 36%, you are doing very well. If you are 39, 40% or better, which is basically where Devin Vassell resides, Doug McDermott, they're 40% shooters. That's how you know that they're good 3-point shooters. Like, they're excellent 3-point shooters. If you are in the 37 to 40 range, 37 to 39.5 range, which is Keldon Johnson-esque, you are a good 3-point shooter. We need him to be respectable. Respectable is probably 34 to 36. And that's the goal for not only Victor Wembanyama, but that's also the goal for Trey Jones.
Yeah.
That's also the goal for, Jeremy Sohan. Now, speaking of Trey Jones, by the way, Trey Jones over the weekend became a restricted free agent. And what that basically means, Spurs fans, is that the Spurs reserve the right to match whatever he gets out there. And that is difficult because what is his true value out there? Lonnie Walker was a restricted free agent last season and didn't get much of anything. I think he got like 6 or 7 million from the Lakers last season. And there were not a lot of suitors out there. For Trey Jones, though, the background that he has playing for Coach K and Duke, and then the resume tape that he has of the last 3 or 4 months with the Spurs before he got hurt shows that he belongs in this league. I like Trey Jones. I want Trey Jones to be back. I don't know if I want Trey Jones for 12 to 13 million a year, but if you can get Trey Jones for, let's say, somewhere between 7 and 10, I'd be okay. 7 to 10, I'd be perfectly fine. But I think his worth is probably closer to 7.
It's all going to be dependent on the open market this summer, and what teams are willing to pay. The problem is when you have veteran players, you don't necessarily want to overpay for a veteran player. Even though they have that experience, which Trey Jones does have, at the end of the day, you just have to look at the books as a whole. And the Spurs want to go ahead and keep some of that cap space open because next year there's going to be some free agents that maybe they want to take a stab at.
I get that, but the Spurs need to spend 90% of the cap in order to get their share of the luxury tax. That wasn't the case in years past.
Yeah.
Years past, you do, like last year, they probably did like 80% of the cap, and they just pocketed the rest, and they got their share of the luxury tax. So for those of you who don't know, if you go over the cap to re-sign your players, or you go over the cap in general, you have to pay what's called a luxury tax, and that tax is divvied up amongst teams that did not go over the cap. So it used to be just be under the cap, you get your money, but now the Spurs need to pay 90% of salary to get their share of it. So it makes sense for them to start paying people. And one of the people that they did pay over the weekend was Zach Collins, because Zach Collins had a partially guaranteed contract. It is now fully guaranteed at around $7 million or so. So Zach Collins is going to be back with the Spurs. That's
season. A good deal, Mike. That is a very good deal for Zach Collins.
It is a very good deal. And people are all over Twitter trying to predict what the Spurs starting lineup for this upcoming season. And a lot of them have Wemby playing 5 or the Wemby playing the 4. And I see him playing the 4. I don't see Wemby playing 5.
4.
But I believe that Zach Collins would be very, very good next to him. You'd have 2 7-footers there. Zach Collins can make threes at a 34, 35% clip, can stretch the floor. And he's also somebody that has a bruiser mentality.
Yeah, he's got a little dog in him.
Someone steps up to Wemby, Zach Collins is going to knock your ass out. He may look like Christian Laettner, okay, but just like Christian Laettner, he'll deck you. Yeah. Okay, so I like having Zach Collins out there. So I think a front court of Zach Collins with Victor Wembanyama and Jeremy Sohan is pretty tasty. And then you have Devin Vassell, because Vassell arguably is the best shooter on this team. So then what happens to Keldon Johnson? Is he the odd man out? Is Keldon Johnson suddenly the 6th man? Do they bring back Trey Jones and run out there a traditional point guard to run the offense? Or do you make Vassell and Keldon kind of like combo guards?
Yeah.
Combo guards who can play the 1, 2, and 3, bring the ball up the court. Victor Wembanyama has already said he'll bring the ball up the court. Jeremy Sohan has shown that he can as well. So the Spurs might be one of those teams out there that goes out there without a true point guard. That doesn't mean that they don't bring back Trey Jones. What it just means is that Trey Jones might not be the starter, and they might not have a traditional starting point guard. Maybe Trey Jones being the 6th man provides a new look to the offense so that, when the team is zigging in the first quarter, they can zag in the second quarter.
Yeah. Or what is that bench going to look like if you have Keldon coming off the bench? Let's say you go ahead and have Trey Jones leading that second unit, and you also have Dougie McBuckets. That's not too shabby,
I know
man.
you have Doug McDermott back there again. I'm thinking about this weekend of going to Louisiana because I have to place that bet. If Jeff
win that
Garcia
money.
is not going to place that bet for me, and I know you're listening, Jeff, if you are not going to place that bet for me, you're going to make me drive 5 hours to go to Lake Charles and place that bet. But if I do that, it has to be a minimum $500. Again, that bet for DraftKings right now is 6.5 to 1 odds. The Spurs winning just 40 games. Just
That's
40
not bad.
games. It's 3 to 1 odds, or 2 to 1 odds rather, of them getting 35 wins. So I need to place that bet. I might do that this weekend. Here's the thing. Keldon Johnson being the sixth man, that's where Manu would have to get into his head and say, dude, it's not the end of the world. I know you led the team in scoring. I know that you can put up 21, 22 points per game. I know that you're a gold medalist. But somebody's got to come off the bench. And the Spurs roster for 2023, I mean, I guess in theory, you can have Zach Collins come off the bench, but then at that point, aren't you making Wemby the 5? And I don't feel comfortable him being the 5.
Yeah, you don't want him banging down in the paint with the big guys,
Yeah, I don't want him battling Jokic, and I don't want him
No.
battling Embiid. I want him being out there and stretching the floor. But the Spurs need to have a sixth man at some point. And who is that going to be? And then there's other players out there that the Spurs have that you've got to figure are going to want to take minutes as well. I mean, you've got Malachi Branham, who played very well towards the end of the season last year. Blake Wesley, who's coming off an injury, but when he was out there beginning of the season, looked very good. So the Spurs suddenly look a little bit loaded when it comes to young talent. And they have to round off the corners there. I know a lot of people want them to get a veteran big man.
Hey, Jakob Portal's still available.
Jakob is still out there. Corporate knowledge. You need to have a veteran out there.
I'm not against it, man. If they can get him to come back.
Get some size. You can't teach height. He's 7 feet.
And he's a fan favorite. And like you said, Jakob knows the system. Can you imagine what that backcourt would look like if you had Jakob coming off the bench, or if you wanted to go ahead and insert him in the starting lineup next to Wemby? Wow.
The Spurs, man, looking at their roster right now, they've got Victor Wembanyama, Keldon Johnson, Doug McDermott, Devontae Graham, Zach Collins, Kem Birch, Devin Vassell, Jeremy Soham, Malachi Branham, Blake Wesley, and Charles Bassey already on the roster. That's 11 players right there. You also have their second rounder who they got, Sissy, I believe is the name. I can't believe I mispronounced his name. Spurs second round draft pick that they got from France, Sidi Sissoko. I combined the two names. They got him at number 44 overall. I was like, Sissy. It's City. Speaks Spanish. That's pretty interesting.
Hey, that was surprising.
Yes, that was pretty good. Now, here's the thing. Thinking about the Spurs and what they did the first 24 hours when Victor Wembanyama arrived, you had a dinner that involved Greg Popovich, David Robinson, Tim Duncan, and Manu Ginobili out there having dinner with Victor Wembanyama. And the photo was so great. And I know a lot of people photoshopped it. Please stop doing that. I don't want to see the Photoshop anymore of him in front of Fred's Fish Fry, okay?
Hey, they put him in front of South Park Mall, dude.
They did that too. It's so great. And for Wemby to come out and say that it meant a lot to him and that it was like, wow, overwhelming, the approach that the Spurs had for him. And they presented him with the corporate knowledge. They presented him, hey, this is 5-time champion. This is 2-time champion. This is 4-time champion. And if Wemby is truly about winning, then that is the perfect thing for him, the perfect scenario for him. But now he's in the 2-1-0. And now he's got to get used to this area. It's going to be easy to find him, right? He's 7'5". There's not a lot of 7'5" people. I made the joke, by the way. Good God. I don't know if this is a tacky joke or not, but I made the joke about Wemby. Everyone afraid that he's going to go off and leave after 4 or 5 seasons. And I'm like, no, all you got to do is introduce him to a beautiful Latina who's tight with her parents in San Antonio and doesn't want to leave here. because a lot of Latinas here in town are that way. You know, you could get the best job in the world in another state or another city, and like, nope, mom and dad are right here. I do not leave them. So, Wemby needs to meet a nice Latina.
I don't know, man. So Latinas, if you're married to a Latina, if you know, man, they're very passionate, dude.
Hey, well, French Tony Parker married Eva Longoria. He messed that one up.
He couldn't handle her, man.
He messed that one up. I mean, I love Tony Parker, but my goodness, Eva Longoria is cream of the crop when it comes to Latinas.
She made the rounds.
She's not Sofia Vergara, but she's pretty close.
No, man, she made the rounds for her new movie, Flaming Hot. She still looks great.
She looks amazing, and she's moving back to San Antonio. Now, let's talk about Wemby, because the controversy that I apparently started on Twitter over the weekend,
Taco.
and I saw this tweet from Taco Palenque that basically thanked a reporter for Univision for being the one to provide him with tacos as he got off the plane, as he arrived in San Antonio. And I can't tell you how offended I was by that photo. How offended I was that Victor Wembanyama, who the entire week had been saying he was looking forward to breakfast tacos, was given Taco Palenque as the first introduction to the cuisine. I was offended. Now, as I mentioned on Twitter, I'm a big fan of Taco Palenque. I had Taco Palenque over the weekend. I went out, had a couple of cocktails, wanted to get some food at midnight. Went to Taco Palenque, got the Matamoros taco, right, which is fried corn with beef fajita, guacamole, some cheese on there, right? Had that with some fideo. I like Taco Palenque. Okay, I am a consumer. I like it. But I do know when I go to Taco Palenque that is not San Antonio Tex-Mex, man. It is not San Antonio Tex-Mex. You got to be out of your mind, Univision reporter, whoever the hell you are, to go over there and present that to Victor Wembanyama on the tarmac as he's getting off the plane. You out of your mind? You are in San Antonio. You need San Antonio tacos, and instead you gave him Taco Palenque? Out of your mind, man. Good God.
This has branding. Even the paper bag has branding. It should just be plain brown paper bag.
So many taquerias here in San Antonio. Yeah. I would have been okay with Las Palapas. Okay, at least it's local.
Or Taco Cabana.
Because no, we're not Taco Cabana, not that Chicago Mexican food. But man. Think about it. All the taquerias here in town. I go to Taco Palenque all the time. Not all the time. I eat there maybe once a month.
Yeah.
I have breakfast tacos from there, right? They're not tacos, they're tacos. Okay. They're good. It's Mexican. I mean, it's legit. But that is Laredo/RGV tacos. It's not San Antonio. Now, they are elite. San Antonio tacos and RGV/Laredo tacos are elite. It's better than what you get in Houston it's better than Austin, Dallas, and all that, right?
Torchy's, man, is Austin. Come on.
Yes. So I'm not saying that it's bad. But what I'm saying is that it's not local, man.
Yeah.
And people reaching out to me on Twitter saying, well, I mean, Spurs fans are all over the RGV. They're all over the RGV, and that's San Antonio territory too. But my thoughts about that is you've got to be out of your mind, because it is not a San Antonio creation. Taco Palenque is all over Laredo, McAllen, Brownsville, Harlingen. They do have locations in San Antonio going up towards Austin, and I think a couple in Houston. But when I think of Taco Palenque, I think of RGV. Adrian reaches out and says Taco Palenque is straight garbage. That's a little too far. But man, look at this post. I posted this. It had 366 likes, 29 retweets, and 60,000 views. I touched a nerve when it came to Wemby and tacos here in San Antonio. And
oh man, Drew,
I mean, I know Drew listens to us from Houston. Okay. He says a taco is a taco in San Antonio, man. It is not. Man. It is not. It is different. Bones, which is out, says Taco Palenque ain't that bad if you on the go. LOL. Again, I like Taco Palenque. I have no beef with Taco Palenque.
This is a Mike Jimenez comment here, man.
Tell me what it says.
It says, I don't know, pero she está muy caliente. This is what she likes. So if she likes them, I guess I like it too. He's saying she's hot.
Oh, the reporter from Univision. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm looking at that photo. I have no idea who that reporter is. But if you judging from the view from behind, I would go ahead and assume that she's a straight up dime. Okay, I'm sure she is a very very attractive young woman. Okay, but the idea that Taco Palenque was the first taco that he ever had just pisses me off. Just pisses me off.
Man, Drew out here trolling, man.
Mario reaching out saying Taco Palenque is a higher end Taco Cabana. Wow. Wow.
Hey, man, but low key, that Bill Miller's the breakfast tacos, they hit hard too, man.
Okay, first of all, we got to talk about that real fast. Bill Miller's breakfast is nice. I mean, the Bill Miller breakfast itself, that meal with the sausage and the eggs and the beans.
That's good, man.
They got good stuff there. It's country Mexican is what they got going on over there. But the salsa, how is the salsa at Bill Miller's better than 9 out of 10 taquerias in San Antonio? That I don't understand.
know,
If they
man.
sold it by a gallon or by a liter, I would go buy it all day, every day. That needs to be in the stores. You know how you have like the condiments from Whataburger?
Yeah.
The mayonnaise and the ketchup and the mustard over at HEB.
Mhm.
Sell whatever salsa from Bill Miller's because it's just so freaking good. And it's like the right consistency. It's not watery. It's not too watery. It's not too thick. It is just perfect. Goodness. Taco Palenque. You know that girl from Univision's probably from the Valley, right? She's from the RGV. You know, she's coming in from McAllen. She was getting all cute. She thought she was doing a good thing.
Take him the chachos. No, but
Victor saying take him to chachos. You know, is Wemby missing the game because of load management? No,
Man,
it's
I
because
don't-
he had the King Kong nachos
yeah, I was
and
gonna
couldn't
say, I don't
take
think
it.
he was gonna be ready for that.
Oh my god, the King Kong nachos knocked me on my ass, dude.
And that's just the half order.
Yeah. I love all these comments coming in. Again, we're live on Twitter, live on Facebook, and on YouTube. Hit the like button. Subscribe to what we do on YouTube. This is local content. Again, we need to have sponsors out there. So if you are a business owner, reach out to us and sponsor. You know who did sponsor us? Cynthia J. Sanchez from J. Parr Realty. Please give her a call if you're looking to buy a home or sell a home. We have a new offer from Cynthia J. Sanchez. Her number on the screen, 210-273-0748. That new offer is a free market analysis of your home. Because I know a lot of people go on to like Zillow or all of these different places and they try to use that as gospel. That's what my house is worth because Zillow says so or realtor.com says so. No. That has nothing to do with anything. It's all about the houses that were sold all around you that match your house. You can't compare a 1-story with a 2-story. You can't compare a 2-car garage with a 3-car garage. You can't compare a small yard with a big yard or a cul-de-sac or all of that. You need to have something that is tried and true, specific to you, and that's where you get a market analysis done. Cynthia J. Sanchez will do it for free if you reach out to her at 210-273-0748. Again, 210-273-0748. She's been in the industry for 16 years. She's a top producer in San Antonio real estate. One other thing that she brought up to me recently, right now a lot of people are like, man, I'd like to buy a home, but man, interest rates are so high, 7 or 8%. Who wants to buy a house at 7 or 8%? She brought up something that I did not even know. She says that there are home builders right now that are financing internally for 3 or 4 or 5%. Better than you can get at a bank, better than you can get at a brokerage. If you finance internally, and she can tell you which lenders are doing that, which home builders are doing that. Again, market analysis. You're buying a home, selling a home, go to Cynthia J. Sanchez, J. Parr Real Estate, 210-273-0748. And if you forget about it or you think about her later and you're like, man, who was that realtor again? DM me and I'll get you your contact information. Again, our sponsor, Cynthia J. Sanchez, J. Parr Real Estate, 210-273-0748. The controversy that is the tacos that Victor Wembanyama ate. So frustrating. But Echo, I think, said it best right here. He says, Spurs are a regional team now LOL per Brian Wright. That is it, man. That is it. Carolina Teague in the house. League of Her Own podcast. Subscribe to Carolina Teague. Saying great show, Jimenez. Very, 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 very nice. But we have other topics to get into. We have a movie review that we're going to do in about 10 minutes or so. The new Transformers movie. I saw something horrific over the weekend, by the way. I saw the San Antonio FC take on Sacramento and got their asses handed to them. My goodness. That was bad. They lost 3-1. San Antonio FC coming back home, Toyota Field, July 1, taking on, I think it's Birmingham Legion. That game against Sacramento, that match they were outmatched the entire time. It was like the other team was faster, the other team was stronger, the other team was more resilient, and they were behind. San Antonio FC fell behind early. Within like 6 minutes, they were down 1-0. Yeah. And I turned it off after the first half. I was like, ooh, this is not looking
good. And it was
good.
A late start, too.
Yeah, it was like 10 p.m. San Antonio time. Yeah. Congratulations also to the San Antonio Missions. San Antonio Missions won the South Division of the Texas League and will make it to the playoffs. So no matter what they do in the second half, they're going to be in the playoffs, which I believe starts in the August-September timeframe. But congratulations to them. They were the only team in the division with a winning record, and they're back home on Wednesday here in San Antonio over at the Wolf. So again, congratulations to your San Antonio Missions. And tonight, I'm going to be hyperventilating because it is Game 3 of the College World Series. The winner of this game wins it all. It's LSU against Florida. Joe Ryanagel, San Antonio Sports Star, gave me crap on Twitter over the weekend because he knows I cheer for LSU. I cheer for LSU because my daughter goes to that school, and therefore my money goes to that school. LSU won Game 1 of the series. Again, this is the championship series, best of 3. They won Game 1. I believe it was 4-3 in 11 innings.
Yeah, extra innings. Me and my friend Jonas Clark were watching it.
Oh, it was a great game.
Yeah,
I was nervous the entire time. Talking to my daughter on the phone as we're watching it together.
Yeah, that 10th inning got really interesting, man.
It got to the point where I had to change the channel because I got too nervous, got superstitious.
Hey, the bases, they had 2 runners,
second and third,
and it could have been a walk-off home run.
Yeah,
but that pitcher for LSU came in clutch.
Dude, the pitcher for LSU that started, they got a no decision, had 17 strikeouts and got a no decision because the bats weren't working. But the bats were working for Florida in Game 2 yesterday. A record 24 runs in the College World Series. A record 24 runs, and it was a record margin of victory, 24-4. It's a 20-run victory by the Florida Gators. Both of those teams from the SEC tonight is the champion. And it's funny because Joe Ryanagel, good buddy of mine, I've known him for 25 years. I worked with him at San Antonio Sports Star. He comes at me and goes, haha, your team lost by 3 touchdowns. And I responded back by saying, yeah, but if LSU wins by 1 run on Monday night, they're the champs.
This is true.
So it's funny. They can win by 1 run tonight, and over the course of 3 games, have a negative 19 run differential, or an negative 18 run win differential, rather, and still be the champs. Because yesterday, guess what, was just 1 game. Whether you won 24-4 or 5-4, it's just 1 game. And my thinking is, did Florida blow their wad? Did they get all the hits out of their system?
I don't know, man.
LSU.
You know, it was crazy, too, because we're watching that game, right? LSU.
Yeah.
And they won their first game in the extra innings. And at the same time, we're kind of keeping track of the Los Angeles Angels game. Mm-hmm. That game was nuts, too, because at the final, 25-1 against the Colorado Rockies. It was crazy. It was like 23-0. And I mean, the score just kept going up and up. Me and my buddy Jonas were keeping track of it. And we're just like, this game is out of control, man. And I can't believe the Colorado Rockies managed to get on the board with 1 lonely point, 25-1.
That was crazy. And I mean, there's a lot of things that happened over the weekend. I found it funny that Freddie Freeman from the LA Dodgers celebrated his 2000th hit yesterday. And I thought to myself, is this a big deal? you know, uh, I'm going to look this up right now. So I'm doing this on the fly because we weren't going to talk about Freddie Freeman, but I know the all-time hit leader is Pete Rose, right? I get that. But they made it seem on ESPN yesterday, and the way that they stopped the game and he was out and kind of like basking in the glory of his 2000th hit. And I was thinking to myself, really? 2000? Now, I know not a lot of people get 3,000, but 2,000? That's a thing? And I'm going over the list of all-time hitters in baseball, right? And right now, 2,000 hits, as I'm scrolling down the list, this is the big market crap that you get from LA. Freddie Freeman, 2,000 hits, 33 years old. You are now ranked number 295 in Major League Baseball history. And we're stopping the game for this milestone? Get the hell out of here, man. 2,000 hits. Now, every hit that he gets is going to be moving back up the charts, right? But let's say that he ends the season with another, I don't know, 75 hits, which is very, very possible, right? He'd still be number 250. Let's celebrate the guy when he gets in the top 50 at the very least, okay?
Or in the top 10, I mean.
Yeah, something. Dude, speaking of baseball, by the way, I like it we go off the rails and we're talking about things I wasn't planning. My dad was showing me baseball cards that he found the other day. Apparently somebody, he was driving around, got evicted, and whoever was the landlord threw out all their crap, and people were just like scavenging for it. And my dad found this huge box of baseball cards, and I was going through them all. I was like, oh, this one's valuable, this one's not, this one's valuable, this one's not. But some of the basketball cards, unopened packs of 30-year-old packs of Skybox and things like that for basketball.
Those are worth some money.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, hey, these are about $15 each, and there's like several of them, and was going through them, and there was like a David Robinson, some Magic Johnson cards and stuff like that. And they were pretty good condition. They were all in the casings and whatnot. So my dad making some money off of somebody's misfortune, but that's what you get when you don't pay your bills.
Yeah, you go sell them at the Pulga and get you some drinking money.
Get something. I was telling him, you're not going to get retail for this, Dad. You could get it might be $300 worth of cards, but you're going to get like $80 for it. You're not going to get much more than that.
They're going to say, well, I got to go ahead and sell it, and I don't know how long I'm going to have it here on my shelf.
Yeah. We're live on Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube. Again, subscribe to us on YouTube. Hit the like button. Comments come in. We get to see them in real time. Several of them coming in. Carolina Teague being one of them, saying the Laredo Taco Company used to be so good when I was little, but now when I try it, I don't like it. Oh, people are going back and forth about various tacos that they don't like. Some people were giving crap about.
You know what? I'm going to call Carolina
Taco
out,
Cabana.
man. Every time I'm talking with Carolina on the phone, without fail, Mike, she's always in line at Starbucks, and I can already tell you her order. She gets the mini egg white sandwiches every time. She ain't eating no tacos.
Okay. So I'm gonna lose my Mexican card right now, dude. I'm gonna lose my Mexican card. Okay. I go up and down in weight. Okay, I go up and down like 20 pounds. I lose 20 pounds, I gain 20 pounds. I lose 20 pounds, I gain 20 pounds. And I woke up this morning saying I've had enough. I'm going to get back on the healthy trick. I'm going to go lose some weight again. And I go down the elevator, and I like it when I'm about 15 pounds lower than what I am right now. And I'm going through Time Hop, all the Facebook and Instagram posts that I made about a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And I was looking pretty good, dude. I was looking pretty good. And earlier this year, I was down about 12 pounds earlier this year. And I'm still about 6 pounds lighter than what I was, but I know where I'm going. I'm going back upwards, and I don't like that. So I decided that today I was going to start eating healthier. Doesn't mean that I'm going to like kick out everything, but I'm going to start eating healthier. So my wife, I typically have a bad time waking up in the morning. And her alarm goes off at 5, and I jumped up. And I'm like, babe, I'm going to H-E-B. I'm going to get some healthy stuff for us to eat today. So I bought the H-E-B Carb Smart tortillas.
Okay.
And I got that with egg whites and cheese, and I had that for breakfast this morning. I got a soup. I love the H-E-B soups.
Oh, yeah.
The salads.
The jar?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, those are pretty good. So I got some soup. They got a good gumbo one there, like a sausage and chicken gumbo. By the way, why am I doing a commercial for HEB? HEB, if you're listening, reach out to us and subscribe to this damn show because I'm doing a commercial for you, not even knowing that I'm doing a commercial for you. But I'm losing my Mexican card because I'm with these carb smart tortillas from HEB. But at least it's HEB, right? It's not.
Yeah.
It's not Mission, right? It's not anything like that. You know what? I was going to talk about the Cowboys, but screw them. They're not playing until September anyway. Great article talking about, though, the ESPN.com had an article about who has the best weapons for all the quarterbacks out there, like ranking the weapons, not the quarterbacks. So basically, ranking the offenses, taking out the quarterback. ESPN has Dallas Cowboys ranked at number 7, which isn't too bad. But number 4, Seattle Seahawks. People are coming around. I'm seeing this. I am seeing
And their
this.
quarterback is not half bad either.
He is not at all. Okay, so this weekend, it's movie review time. Let's gather around, kids. Let's gather around. For those of you who don't know, I didn't play with a lot of toys growing up. Okay, and I didn't watch a lot of cartoons growing up that wasn't Bugs Bunny, right, or Yosemite Sam or the Coyote, Wile E. Coyote, right? So I watched that growing up, but movies just really wasn't into it. Either A, I wasn't into it, or B, my parents wouldn't let me watch it. And all my friends growing up were all into certain things, whether it be Transformers, G.I. Joe,
Thundercats.
I was going to say Thundercats, right? All of that stuff. And I had no interest at all. None at all. And it's not so much that I watched it and just didn't like it, just wasn't interested to begin with. But now I have kids, right? 2 of them are grown. I have one that's 10 who's really into anime, so I'm starting to stomach through all that. But over the weekend, Mom was on a girls' trip. My son, who has special needs, was with Grandma and Grandpa. They wanted to take him to Morgan's Wonderland.
Okay.
So I'm there with my daughter, my youngest one, my 10-year-old. And I said, Daddy-daughter date. And she's a mama's girl. She loves me when no one else is around, but she's a mama's girl, and I decided that I wanted to take her out. I said, whatever you want to do, just go do it. And she says, Dad, let's go to the movies. And then I want to go play video games after that. Then I want to go get ice cream. Got all 3 done. So we go to the movies, and I like going to Flicks. I'm bougie that way.
The Flicks Brew House.
I am bougie that way. And if you don't know Flicks, don't go because I don't want to see you there. I love the fact that it's empty. Okay. No, I go to the Flicks on, there's only one. Yeah. It's on 1604 in Petrenko. And it's hidden. No one sees it when you're driving by. It's a movie theater that maybe has 10 screens. But it's very bougie.
Very plush.
Very plush. Yeah, there's lots of stretching room there, right? Yeah. It's really nice. And it's nicer than most of the Santikos theaters that you'll see out there. And there's very few kids there.
Yeah.
So
they cater more to the adult crowd.
Yeah. It's like Alamo Drafthouse. It's like a nicer Alamo Drafthouse.
Yeah. And you can push the button and they come to you to get your order.
Exactly. Yeah. And the food's good. The drinks are good. And don't get me wrong, they have kids' movies there, but it's almost like the kids that go there are well behaved.
Yeah, they are.
This isn't
They're not
Cinemark.
Screaming and yelling.
This isn't Dollar Cinema over at Cinemark. I used to go to the one on 410 and Evers, and it's like the ground's all sticky and kids are screaming. They're all misbehaved.
You're at least going to see at least 1 or 2 dead rats on the way to the theater.
It's not that. Flicks is nice. So my daughter wanted to see the Transformers movie. And don't get me wrong, even though I had never seen the cartoons growing up and I never played with the toys growing up, I had seen some of the Transformer movies in the past, the ones with Sam Witwicky. Who was he? He was Megan Fox, and what was that guy's name?
That was Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf. Yeah. I saw 1 or 2 of those movies. I know I saw one definitively, and I thought it was all right. I mean, it was like, whatever. Give it a C, right?
Yeah.
So I'm saying that I'm going to go watch this, and people are like, do not review this, man. Do not review this. And first of all, what I did not realize, because I had not seen the previews, and even if I had seen the previews, I would have changed the channel because it's the Transformers. Who really gives a shit? Okay. But We talked last week about not a lot of Latino representation
Yeah.
in TV.
Yeah.
Dude, I didn't know this was Latino Transformers. That's exactly what
Los
this
Transformers.
is. Yes. The movie stars Anthony Ramos as Noah Diaz. He's an ex-military guy who is, I'm not going to give away plot points, but he's an ex-military guy who kind of gets involved with the Transformers, right? And you know, they got to go save the world because that's what it's all about, right? And every Transformers movies that I've ever seen has always been about, you know, you have to, you know, prevent these people from, this time it's Scourge, from getting the key of whatever, because it opens a portal. Like, dude, they're all same plot.
Yeah.
Right? Because we want to go back home, but we can't. And there's a key. And if you grab the key, they can destroy the world and all of that stuff. And here's my takeaways. Why is it that in the movies, Optimus Prime is always getting his ass kicked? The dude has like, I tweeted this to, or I texted this to Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs. But dude, he was like 4-24 record fighting in these movies, right?
Yeah.
Maybe he was a badass in the cartoons.
No, he was always getting his ass kicked too in the cartoon.
Yeah, what's that all about?
Yeah.
But he's like some great leader, right? Why is it that they have a female Transformer and they somehow try to make the Transformer look hot?
RC, you're talking about RC.
See the Ducati?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, she's a motorcycle.
Yeah, the Ducati motorcycle.
Yeah.
But she's like, why are they trying to make her sexy? Like what kind of mind draws that up and goes, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this part of the vehicle look like an ass, a sexy ass, a cartoon ass. Okay, so Pete Davidson plays Mirage from SNL. Pete Davidson.
Yeah.
So he took some time off from banging starlets to go hang out and do the voice of Mirage. Again, the whole object is to defeat Scourge and his people. Anyway, if I'm going to give a movie review of this as far as a letter grade, everyone's assuming that I'm going to give this a D or a C minus or something like that. I'm going to give it an A minus.
What?
I really enjoyed it. I laughed throughout the movie. I was able to pretty much follow with the plot. My daughter enjoyed it, so I enjoyed seeing my daughter enjoy it. The jokes were more adult than I thought they would be. It's not PG; it's a PG-13 movie. The action scenes were pretty good. I like the Latino aspect of it all. The woman is I believe she's African American. She was very, very pretty. She is a good actress. This guy, Anthony Ramos, who apparently was in Hamilton, did not even know that. So he's got some bona fides. They didn't pull him off the street.
He's got some acting chops.
Yeah, he's a Lin-Manuel Miranda kind of guy, right?
Yeah.
So he was pretty good. I liked it. I did. Now, I tell people that just because I give one a high letter grade and another one a lower letter grade doesn't mean that the higher letter grade is better than the lower letter grade, because they're all different, right? Like an A minus movie that is Transformers-esque is not as good as a B plus movie that is a war movie, right? Speaking of war movies, today is the anniversary. I want to say it's 36 years, if I read that correctly. Full Metal Jacket was released on this date 30 some odd years ago. Full Metal Jacket, the Stanley Kubrick movie, 1987 is when it came out. And this is the movie starring Matthew Modine, Adam Baldwin. Lee Army was amazing in it as the drill instructor. Came out June 26, 1987. So let's do the math on that. That is 36 years ago.
Dang.
It's weird because the movie is so freaking long, but it's actually two movies in one. The first movie, which is the boot camp with the guy that the fat private, you know, the guy that he was always messing everything up. Was he? Joker was one, and what was that guy's name? What was his name on it? They would call him Pyle or something like that. Joker and Pyle. That is an A plus part of the movie. Okay, the back end of the movie where they're actually in Vietnam, you know, with the "Me love you long time," I only got $5. That part of the movie was trash. So it's weird because Full Metal Jacket is an A plus movie the first half and is like a C minus movie thereafter. I will stick to it. Joker reaches out and says, for what it is, a summer popcorn blockbuster, the new Transformer movie hits it out of the park. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was. It was an A- movie for me because I enjoyed it for what it was.
See, I told you she gets, man. Carolina
Teague says, not Joe knowing my exact order by heart. I'm so dead.
Yep.
Again, she bougie going to Starbucks. Man, I go to Starbucks like once every 2 months, man. And it's only when I'm sick. I go get the hot tea.
Yeah.
Like the Starbucks daily. Dude, spend your money on other stuff, man.
Carolina goes to Starbucks like almost every day. And it's
That's
always the
just so
egg
wrong.
white sandwich, man.
The food there's pretty good there, man. Like they have like the protein box. But the protein box is you get the protein box and then you get like a refresher or whatever it's called. And then you walk out the door and you tip and it's like, oh, that will be $23. Starbucks is the biggest waste of money that anybody could ever do, by the way. It really, really is. By the way, some other pop culture news. Wasn't going to discuss this, but Joe and I were talking about this literally 30 seconds before the show started. I'm a big fan of the TV show Mad Men. And this is kind of bizarre because my wife and her mom, so think about this, my wife and my mother-in-law have the same number one celebrity crush. I didn't think that was possible. But the guy is in between their ages.
Oh, explains it. Yeah.
John Hamm.
Okay.
John Hamm, Don Draper from Mad Men. That's a good-looking guy, dude. That is a good-looking guy. I love him in everything that he does. Even that Fletch movie, which was trash, he was kind of funny in. He was in Tag. I like that movie Tag. He was pretty good in it. He got married over the weekend to a woman named Anna Osceola. So the thing about her is that she was actually an actress in the show Mad Men. Met her on the show. Years later, that show's been off the air for like a decade, right? Almost. Years later, they reconnected after he got divorced or he got broken up with his long-term relationship. And they started dating and they got married. And they got married at the cliff, the literal cliff out there in Big Sur, California, where the show ended. It was the last scene of the show.
Wow.
They got married at the exact spot. That's pretty cool. Mad Men is one of my 5 favorite TV shows of all time. And it's one of those things where just like I finished watching Modern Family last week, it's one of those shows where I didn't watch it at the time. And part of me wishes I would have watched it as it was going along. But the other part of me is like, you know what? It's a blessing to live in the time of streaming where it's like you could watch it all at one time over the course of 2 months. Like I went through Modern Family, all 11 seasons in 3 months. I went through Mad Men in probably 2 months. I went through it all. It's a great show. I'm watching it the second time. But John Hamm was very, very good. Iconic movie, iconic show rather. But my goodness, man. Congratulations to John Hamm. I got to go break this news to my wife. She's going to be a little bit upset.
Oh, look at that.
Locked On Spurs, Jeff Garcia. By the way, don't forget to subscribe to Jeff Garcia on Locked On Spurs, daily content of your San Antonio Spurs. Did Jimenez understand the big reveal at the end of the Transformers movie? I did understand it. I understand that we're now having 2 universes come together, right? 2 cartoon universes come together. But if you ask me about that cartoon, because I don't want to give that away because people are going to go watch this movie. It's just been out for a few weeks. Did I understand the big reveal? I guess I understand that it's 2 worlds colliding. But at the same time, who gives a crap? It's a cartoon. It's a cartoon. It was a cartoon then. It's a cartoon now. But was it entertaining? Was Transformers entertaining? This Transformers was better than any of the Shia LaBeouf, Megan Fox ones. Lots of comments reaching in. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube, and you can leave your comments coming in. Carolina Teague is here trying to litigate the fact that she goes to Starbucks all the time because she gets points. That's like going to Kohl's for Kohl's Cash. Sorry. Means nothing. Okay? It is a waste of money. That whole thing about like, well, I got it on sale means nothing. Absolutely nothing. But this has been a fun show so far. Joe, anything you would like to add before we sign off?
No, man, it was a great weekend of sports. Props too to Joshua Franco, local San Antonio boxer here. He had his last fight, announced his retirement over the weekend. He unfortunately didn't make weight, so they stripped him of his title before his match. But he was fighting over in Japan, and after he did lose that match, he went ahead and announced his retirement. So it's sad to see that San Antonio is going to be losing a boxer,
Yeah.
as one in Joshua Franco, but you know. Congratulations to him on his retirement, and basically he can do whatever he wants to at this point. Maybe open a gym, or impart some of that knowledge onto the younger generation.
Yeah, we saw that with James Leha.
Yeah,
who was
exactly.
able after he retired after a long illustrious career to go out there and be able to do his thing, give back to the community, give back to not only the community but the
next generation of fighter,
the boxing community as well. Lots of people reaching out. Paul Cantu, thank you so much for sharing this on Facebook as well. Going to see if we have any comments coming in on there. Rudolph. All right, Renee, dude, I know you listen to us a lot. Dude, move on over. Do the migration. Do me a solid. Migrate over to YouTube, man. Coming out and saying that Las Palapas is actually Cali Mex. That's a very good point. Let's dissect that real fast. This is all brought up by the fact that I was offended that Univision reporter, whoever she was, gave Victor Wembanyama breakfast tacos from Taco Palenque.
Yeah.
Okay. Las Palapas, they're from California, but I consider Las Palapas to be more Tex-Mex than I do California, because I go to California a lot, and California is all about the burritos. They're not adding French fries to burritos at Las Palapas. Like the Oki and the Macho, I mean, they're burritos, but they're like Tex-Mex burritos. I know that burritos don't really exist here in Tex-Mex. I get that. But it's like if someone that was doing Tex-Mex food was going to be doing burritos, it would be the Macho or the Oki, right? But let me see any other comments that we have coming in. Any interesting ones that you see coming in from YouTube?
Let's see what we got.
Gio reaches out and says, I saw Across the Spider-Verse, and man, it was good. I don't mind the Spider-Man movies, but that's not a movie, right? That's like a cartoonish type of thing, a CGI.
It's an animated film, and it's really good. And the animation, the story, everything in that film is really something to experience for yourself. It's a sequel to the original movie that came out, I think Across the Spider-Verse, which was really good as well. So this is a nice one, man. You should go and check it out. And it ends on a cliffhanger.
Oh yeah, because it's like a part one.
Yeah, it's a part one,
and they all do. They all end in cliffhangers. Ooh, we got a little bit of breaking news coming in from Adrian Wojnarowski. I want to thank Sean for reaching out to us on Twitter to give us the update. In the past 15 minutes or so, a Woj bomb dropped from ESPN. Adrian Wojnarowski reporting, quote, that the Atlanta Hawks are finalizing a trade to send forward center John Collins to the Utah Jazz for Rudy Gay and a second-round pick. Atlanta's largely unloading Collins' 3-year, $78 million salary contract, for some roster rebuilding flexibility and alignment with looming changes to the salary cap. Keep in mind, the Spurs have Atlanta's first-round draft pick in 2025. We also have some future picks from them as well.
Future picks.
Swaps and things like that. Let me see. So you want them to start sucking.
Oh, yeah. I think the picks from Atlanta are unprotected at that, too.
They are unprotected. That was part of the DeJounte Murray trade. So I'm looking right now at the Spurs' future picks right now. The Spurs have their own next year, along with Charlotte's top 14 protected, Toronto's top 6 protected. And then in 2025, the Spurs have their own, have Atlanta's and have Chicago's. And then in future, the Spurs have swaps with Atlanta as well. And I think they have another first rounder along the way. So, yeah, we want that team to suck. But think about it. John Collins was somebody that the Spurs fans wanted to have. And he never developed into the player that we all thought that he could be. He's kind of undersized as a center. That's why they have him as a forward/center. I'm glad the Spurs aren't assuming that contract, because although $24 million isn't, or $26 million a year isn't too bad in the NBA these days, that's kind of in the Keldon Johnson range. He's not producing at that level.
No.
And you got to see, what are they going to build around DeJounte Murray and Trae Young over there in Atlanta? Can they build that around? Can they turn it around? Because in less than 2 years, in 23 months, the Spurs have that first-round draft pick unprotected. Can you imagine if in Wemby's third year with the team, going into the third year, Spurs are sitting there with 3 first-rounders that could be, 2 of them could be lottery picks?
Yeah, it could potentially be in the top 10.
And not be ours?
Yeah.
Not be ours? Amazing. Amazing.
It wouldn't surprise me if Ice Tray here for the Atlanta Hawks or Falcons, should I say, if the Hawks, he winds up asking to be traded before the season even starts.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that either. Adrian reaches out on YouTube, says DeJounte hated San Antonio more than Kawhi. Can we call it a tie?
I don't know if he hated San Antonio so much. He just was not happy with the direction.
Yeah.
He wasn't happy with the direction as far as his career with the San Antonio Spurs.
He knew they weren't going to win.
Yeah,
and he wanted to go to a winner. So
yeah.
I really didn't mind DeJounte too much. At least he manned up about it.
He went and told them,
and he didn't talk trash about it on the way out the door either. So.
No, he did that later on after.
Yeah, but it had to be pulled out of him, and it really wasn't like too much trash. Now, because we didn't have a show on Friday, a couple of things about the draft on Thursday of last week. Have you seen the story about Shams Charania of The Athletic?
No, I didn't see that.
Okay. We might need to get into this conversation tomorrow, but there's some controversy involving him. And I'm a big fan of Shams Charania. He and Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN, they battle each other as to who's going to break the news, right? Shams tweeted the day of the draft, and we talked about this with Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs, that the number 2 pick, which was Portland, I believe.
It was Charlotte.
It was Charlotte. That the number 2 pick was looking at. Oh, it was Charlotte. That they were looking at taking Scoot Henderson at number 2, as opposed to
Brandon
Miller. So it's like, okay, well, what does that mean, right? That's just him reporting what he's thinking, right? Well, if you connect the dots on here, Brandon Miller had been seen as the number 2 overall pick, being projected as such for weeks. Even though Scoot Henderson is considered to be a very, very good player, Charlotte has a point guard already, right? So they don't need to have another point guard. They have an all-star point guard already. They don't need another one. So the belief was that they were going to go for Brandon Miller. And then Shams coming out and tweeting that Charlotte is possibly changing their mind and going to take Scoot instead. Might seem like that's harmless. Well, people bet on this crap.
Oh, yeah.
And people went on FanDuel and the odds flipped. And people started betting on Scoot going number 2. When Brandon Miller was chosen at number 2, all the people who bet on Scoot Henderson because of Shams's tweet lost money. Who they lose that money to? They lost that money to FanDuel. Who pays Shams?
FanDuel.
FanDuel does. Connect the dots, dude. And that's why there's some shade that, if I'm not mistaken, that Woj threw out there about it all.
Yeah.
Was Shams reporting legit stuff, or was he full of shit the entire time and tried to force feed it on people because he was trying to do his masters, the people who cut his check, was trying to do their bidding? I mean, Shams has never been somebody to report false stuff. But when I heard about that, man,
timing couldn't be more like sketch.
It's beyond sketch.
Yeah,
beyond sketch. Speaking of gambling, Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs. Don't forget to subscribe to Locked On Spurs podcast. Again, I follow on Spotify, but you can also follow him on Twitter as well. He texted me, "Crap, I'll help you with the betting later tonight. I've been sick."
No, this dude's been sick for a while with the cold, man.
I know, dude. I was too, man. The first week that we did this, this podcast, I was sick as a dog.
Yeah, and then he was sick too.
He probably has the same stuff.
Yeah,
but even when I was sick, I would be able to go on my phone and place a bet, dude. I would still be capable of that. This has been a fun show. We're going to be back tomorrow. Again, thank you so much for subscribing. If you've been watching on YouTube, hit the like button. Hit the like button. Subscribe, share, tell people about this show. Tell people that, hey, there's local sports content, a little pop culture, a little bit of everything going on here. The show is evolving. We hope to turn it into a 2-hour show soon enough, maybe closer to August or so when the football season starts. We're going to have a fantasy football show with Brandon Medina. Brandon, tentatively scheduled to be on Friday with us. So we have a lot going on. I know a lot of people reached out to me saying that they want to have a conversation about being part of this show. A lot of podcasters and a lot of people who do local writing, I'd be willing to meet. Just give me an idea. Throw me an idea. See if it works, if it fits the model that we're looking at doing. Thank you again to our sponsor, Cynthia J. Sanchez from JPAR Realty. Again, we're going to put her number out there real fast. It's a 210-273-0748. Again, 210-273-0748. She's offering a free market analysis of your home if you're looking to sell, looking to buy. Again, a free market analysis, 210-273-0748. Tomorrow, we'll obviously talk more about sports. We'll know who's going to be the College World Series champion in baseball. LSU, Florida. I'm sure we'll talk about Wemby. We'll talk about the NBA. And you know what? Maybe a little bit of Cowboys. Maybe. But then again, I'm not beholden to them. Maybe not. Okay. But we've enjoyed this show. We hope that you've enjoyed this show too. Again, thank you so much for those who are listening from 12 to 1. Those of you who are listening in the future from 3 p.m., 6 p.m., 9 p.m. Those of you, thank you so much as well. Like, share, subscribe, and we'll be back tomorrow. This is The Acquired Taste. My name is Mike Jimenez. That is Joe Garcia. See you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks for watching.